Greetings, Pokemon trainers! In the last couple of months, I've been working on a Pokemon fan region, a fan game, if you will. Pokemon Star, Cross, and Crescent. I turned this little project of mine into a series of videos on this channel where I bring up all sorts of Pokemon that I've been working on, gym leaders and all kinds of stuff, and explaining my ideas and thoughts and where those designs came from and everything about them. So today, while I'm waiting for some new stuff to show up, I decided to take a little break from making gym leaders and some of the grandiose things and decided to talk about something a little bit smaller. The Eevee of this region, to be more specific. Now, obviously, Eevee is one of the most famous Pokemon ever. In some cases, he's even past Pikachu in its popularity. It's one of the most popular and beloved Pokemon of all time, and not the least of which because it has this incredible ability to just evolve into several different types of Pokemon. It is the most branched evolution Pokemon of all time, being able to evolve into, as of this moment, 7 different evolutions of 7 different types. Now, obviously, what a lot of other people do when they're making fan regions and fan games, they just create their own unique versions of evolutions that are still kind of technically an evolution, but in a certain type that hasn't even been introduced yet. And I gotta be honest, I was at one point considering doing something like this, and then I came up with an idea that I personally think is better. And I decided to myself that I'm still gonna keep the idea of adding new evolutions to the game on the table, provided, of course, I will still have enough room in the Pokédex by the time I get to them. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be the case right now, but I do have a replacement, an Eevee equivalent, if you will, that I am very proud of and I think you're going to really enjoy. So let's start with the Pokemon itself, the normal type Eevee-ish equivalent that is going to be the Pokemon that evolves into several different types of Pokemon, which is, in this case, Komiken! It's a comedic chicken! So, in order to understand the journey that this Pokemon is going to have to do, you first have to understand something very, very important about the Israeli experience and the Israeli culture that really ties in perfectly with this Pokemon. Now, for several years, several decades as a matter of fact, there was a comedic group that was very prominent and prevalent in the Israeli cultural zeitgeist. For a time, you couldn't go anywhere without meeting someone who knows about them, who's seen them perform, who's at least heard of them on the radio. They were basically everywhere for a short period of time. Nowadays, it's rare to find people who've never absolutely heard about them, but it does happen a lot, and it's unfortunate. But for the most part, they have remained a huge part of the Israeli culture and Israeli history, and they are basically going to represent this Pokemon today. And I'm of course talking about the Pale Trackers, also known as Hagashash HaChiver in Hebrew, obviously. Basically, they are a trio of comedians who just get together and perform on stage doing all kinds of ridiculous shenanigans, if you will, and it's just funny. Like I said, it's an iconic piece of Israeli culture which every Israeli at one point or another grew up knowing their names and knowing their sketches, and in some cases even being able to quote their sketches word for word, and they will be representing the Eevee today. However, when it comes to humble beginnings, as they say, before they were the Pale Trackers, they were part of a traveling musical comedy company called The Roosters, Hatarnegolim, and that is why this Pokemon right here is represented by a little chicken, a rooster. That is where the name Komiken comes from. Like I said, it's a comedic chicken, and you can kind of tell that its design resembles the look of the Roosters, the band, kind of. It's got an entirely white coat of feathers with little button patterns. It's got these little tap dancing shoes, and its waddle is kind of shaped like a bow tie, which is kind of cute and neat. It's kind of got those hairstyles which were very much of its time. Now, obviously, this being the Eevee form, it looks kind of smaller, younger, more cute, just like what Eevee is meant to be. Now, obviously, once it evolves into one of the pale trackers, it is going to look much more robust and intimidating and mature, if you will. So let's get ourselves acquainted with the evolved forms of this Pokemon, shall we? Starting us off, we have Poltergeist, the ghost type evolution. Now, I haven't actually came up with a good name for these evolution equivalents, like, evolutions are known as, the evolutions of Eevee, so they're evolutions, but I haven't actually came up with a good name for these guys yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know, I haven't actually put that much thought into these guys. However, Poltergeist, the first one that I'm going to be covering, is based on Poli, also known as Israel Polyakov, also known as Polly. That was his nickname. So yeah, you can kind of see that its design is inspired primarily by Sergio Costanza, arguably his most iconic character, taken from the movie Halfon Hill Doesn't Answer, Givat Halfone Naona. It is going to get very difficult trying to translate all of these things into English, so let's please just move on. So in this movie, Sergio Costanza is basically this con man on steroids that just tries to con the hell out of everybody and gets recruited into the military for whatever reason, and throughout the majority of the film, he's wearing uniform from a completely different military that doesn't even match with the Israeli military, and that is basically the coat of feathers that I gave it. But you also notice that they kind of look a little bit more ghoulish and scary-ish and ghost-like, because it's a ghost type. It's meant to represent the ghost type element. You also notice that it has this feather pattern on the eyes. It kind of makes it look like sunglasses, because that's what Sergio is wearing for the majority of the movie. He also has this red handkerchief, which is represented by its waddle. Also, the top of its head is meant to represent the hat that he's wearing for the majority of the movie. He also has his wing in a sort of serving motion, which kind of represents a little bit of the quirkiness and silliness of this character. Now, why is it a ghost type? Well, for the most part, it's because out of the original three, he is the only one who is no longer with us. He sadly passed away several years ago, hence the ghost type. But also, Sergio Costanza is wearing a military uniform that's pretty much has this emphasis on stealth and camouflage, and that is sometimes used for ghost types in Pokemon. I mean, just look at Dragapult. It is meant to be a stealth fighter jet, and it's a ghost type. See? It makes sense. Moving on, we have the second member of the group, Shush, based on Shaike, also known as Shaike Levy. That is his full name. Shaike obviously is a nickname. This particular Pokemon takes the majority of its inspiration from Mr. Hasson, who is also from that movie. And as a matter of fact, he's kind of the arch rival of Sergio Costanza, because Sergio Costanza conned him badly once, and he keeps trying to take his revenge on him, going so far as to finding him wherever the military took him and getting himself somehow indoctrinated into the military as well at that time. I don't know, it's a very weird and funny and quirky movie, and it works. Trust me, in the movie, it works. And he's wearing this white sleeveless tank top, which you can kind of see this Pokemon wearing as well. He also has this white handkerchief on his head, which is also represented by the Pokemon. And obviously, he is very large in the gut area, which you can also see in this Pokemon. And I mean, it's a rooster, so it kind of makes sense. It's a fat chicken. What do you want me to say? I mean, it's supposed to represent a character. Obviously, this is a ground-type version. You can kind of see by the fact that it's kind of covered in gravel and dust and sand particles. There isn't really a specific reason, other than the fact that I really couldn't find a good typing that represents Mr. Hasson in Pokemon form. But for the most part, I'd say it's because he's Egyptian, as opposed to the other ones who were born in Israel, and Egypt is known for having large, wide desert. Also, he gets buried in the sand at one point in the movie, and also he gets lost in the desert trying to find the sea to go fishing. So yeah, ground just really made sense for this Pokemon more than any other type that hasn't already been used by a pre-existing evolution, and that was part of my deal. I wanted to use 3 types that haven't been used by existing evolutions. Moving on, we have the final member of the group, Gavramshash, based on Gavri, also known as Gavri Banai. Yeah, they all pretty much have nicknames that barely even change their names, other than Polly. But, you know, Gavri. Gavri. This is the only character out of the three of them not based on a character from the movie Half on Hill. It is used from a different movie because his character in Half on Hill seems a little bit too similar to Sergio Costanza, and he doesn't really stand out too much, and I really wanted all three of these to stand out, so I chose a character from a different movie they all made, The Fight for the Building, The Fight for the Landlordship. Not really sure what the proper translation for it is, but Akravalavad. Basically, in this movie, he plays a nephew of the character played by Shaike, who is very much obsessed with the Rambo movies, and that's why he keeps dressing up like Stallone from that movies. He very much modeled himself after Rambo with the headband and the military fatigues and the boots and everything, and you can pretty much see all of that represented on this Pokemon right here, from the headband to the feathers to even these spiky shoes. It's all there. In the movie, he also has this necklace that I can't really recall if it serves any purpose specifically in the movie, but yeah, he's got it, and that is how I made the Waddle for this Pokemon. Now, obviously, every single evolution has the word Eon at the end of their names because that's, you know, evolution happens once every several years, every eon, if you will. So that's why every single one of these evolutions has a word representing their type: vapes, flares, jolts, and the word eon added into it. So I wanted to do the same, but I also wanted to do something a little bit more creative. Obviously, I wanted all three of them to have the word Gashash be represented in their names. That's why all of them have Shash at the end of their names. But also I wanted to have their names, but something that kind of represents their typing, which is why for Polly, I have Poltershash. There's Polly in there, but there's also Poltergeist, because it's a ghost type. For Shailenshash, obviously there's Shaike, or rather Shai, but also Land. That was the toughest one to make sense, but yeah, Land. That's ground, right? And for Gavramshash, it's pretty obvious. There's Gavri in it, but also Rambo, because he's modeled after Rambo. So yeah, Gavramshash. So yeah, like I said, these three are the Eevee equivalent of the Molash region. Now, as far as how you get them, well, at some point during the main story of the game, once you beat the gym in the city of Springmount, which is a city based on Tel Aviv, you will be greeted by the champion. I won't spoil who that is yet, just in case you want that secret to be revealed later on, or rather in the game itself. But you're greeted with the champion, and it's basically just Cynthia in Eterna City after the gym battle. He just walks up to you, and he just gives you an egg and tells you to look after it, and tells you to look after the Pokemon inside it. And obviously the Pokemon that hatches from it is a Kamiken, because it's a gift Pokemon, just like Eevee is in most versions of the game. And the evolution method is a little complicated, and I couldn't really find a better one. Obviously, I couldn't really use Stone too much. I felt like that was a little too generic. So I decided on something like this. Once this Pokemon reaches level 40, you just take it to the Azraeli buildings, which are found in the city of Springmount. Haven't actually found a good alternative name for them that's sort of different from the real world buildings, but yeah, you basically go there, you present the Kamiken to the guards standing inside, and basically you have the choice of going into one of the three buildings. The building you choose is going to determine which of these three your Kamiken will evolve into. I haven't actually decided which building is going to be which, but I mean that's later in life, once I actually get to designing the mechanics of the game. Now, obviously, once you get there, it's basically like the Tower of Darkness and the Tower of Waters on the Isle of Armor. You have to go there, you have to battle a series of NPCs rather, in each tower, and each NPC in the tower is going to be a different character that was played by the specific member of the trackers that your Kamiken will evolve into in that particular tower. and obviously I'm going to have a lot of fun designing those NPCs once I'll actually get there. But yeah, going to have to battle, let's say 6. And then once you reach the top, you're going to have to battle, obviously, the toughest one yet. And once you do that, your Comic-Con will evolve into that Pokemon specifically. Yeah, I felt that was a little bit more creative than just giving it a stone, or, you know, having high friendship, or playing with it, or evolving it next to a specific rock that can only be found in one specific location. Yeah, I felt like that would have been much more creative and better. Maybe it's not perfect, maybe it's not the best, but it's really the best I can do. And really, that's, you know, something that I wanted to do, and it's different from how you normally evolve Eevee, and I kind of like that. So that's the one I'm going with. So yeah, basically that's it. That's all I can say for now about Comic-Con. Like I said, this is a very short video, and when I say short, I mean relatively short compared to some of the other videos that I've made about this Pokemon fan region of mine. There's still so much more to go. I have another gym leader that I can't wait to share with you guys very, very soon. But for right now, just enjoy these 3 the way that they are. And yeah, hope to see you guys soon. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think about my Eevee sort of maybe equivalent in my personal fan region. And yeah, like I said, I can't wait to share more. Last thing that I want to go over with you guys, I am putting my own money into this. I am investing my money in this. I'm paying an artist to paint these wonderful, wonderful Pokemon you're seeing right before you. I'm also planning to pay I'm also planning to hire someone to actually design the game itself, to program it, to make it an actual functioning game. Obviously, if I can't afford that, then at least I have the idea, the concept, which is still great in my opinion, but I really want to develop this even further. So I'm going to need your help and support by going down to the comments below, to the description, or rather, and check out my Patreon. There are several different tiers, or you can just look me up on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Pokemon Star, Cross, and Crescent. You can find all kinds of different tiers. You get early access to early designs of these Pokemon that I'm going to be showing off in these videos. You can also have your own names appear in the game itself. You can also have your own characters be in the game. There are so many ways you can contribute to this game. Just please, but the most important one, I need the money to make it work. Now, obviously, I'm going to make it work anyways, with or without the Patreon, but the Patreon is definitely going to be the deciding factor on whether or not I'm going to have this game sooner rather than later. So yeah, and any support you can give is much appreciated. And if you can't do Patreon, I completely understand. We all went through a pretty terrible year for all of us. So yeah, I understand if you can't support this. But if you can't do that, just leave a like on this video, comment on this video, share this video around with your friends, and let people know about this game. Help me get the word out so we can make this game for all of us to have fun and enjoy with. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the this new Pokemon. And well, I feel like I've been talking for long enough. So thank you for watching if you have, and I will see you guys next time I have something worthwhile sharing. So until next time, everybody, gotta catch 'em all! Hello again, everybody! I really hope you enjoyed this video, cause I really enjoyed making it. So if you like what you've seen here, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more awesome content like this. So until next time, guys, I'll see you guys next time.